One player is ruled out for the rest of the series. One player is ruled out for the fourth test. There is a key player carrying an injury from the last test. There's a key player around whom there's always workload management. But India do have one change for sure. Nitish Kumar Reddy will now not play a part. He's been one third of that all round axis that we know this team management prefers. In his absence, is there another all round option, or do India change the balance now?
I think India have enough all-round players, all-rounders at their side. Nitish Kumar Reddy was brilliant with the ball. With batting, I can see that there is a confidence issue. He seems to have lost that confidence that he had in Australia, and may have a lot to do with how he was pushed down the order. So I don't see him not being available and certain players being injured, and Indian team is now weakened and really hampered because Bumrah is going to be playing, so which is great news. But more all-rounders would not be such a good idea.
Okay, so that means we would lean towards specialist batter. Uh, there are only two on the bench. Sai Sudarshan played the first test. Abhimanyu Ishwaran yet to play a test match. Are you getting Sai Sudarshan back into the game?
Well, I want to have him back, but because now India have to fill in one, more a batting position than a bowling position. I'm inclined towards it's again something that is out of the box because I feel sorry for Abhimanyu Ishwar. These are excellent batting conditions. A lot of young players have got a break, and this guy has been around for a long time. So, Sai Sudarshan could come in and slot himself at number three, but then you have an opening with Nitish Kumar Reddy not being available, and India going in for a Shardul Thakur who was really unimpressive in the match that he played in the series, the first match. And just too many all-rounders may not be such a good idea. At this stage, India could maybe invest in a pure bowler or a pure batter. I'm inclined towards a batter because India have had a batting collapse in the last test. And Shubman Gill failed, and it's not like he's going to be failing, but maybe they could strengthen their batting. So I'm thinking both Abhimanyu Ishwaran and Sai Sudarshan could get a game. That's my thinking, but I don't know whether it's in a way panning out in such a way that Karun Nair gets another game. And the one thing, of course, going with Karun Nair is he's an excellent slip fielder, and that's an important, contribution in a Test match in England, especially in at Old Trafford. But I firmly believe that Sai Sudarshan should get a game, and Abhimanyu Ishwaran as well, because there is a place to be filled with a batter.
If you were to go with your combination, would you then play Sai Sudarshan at number six because Abhimanyu Ishwaran is solely a top order
Yes.
batter?
Yes, and yeah, you don't want to disturb the opening pair. They've been phenomenal. So yes, I'll have Ishwaran at number three, and Sai Sudarshan down the order. He's got the big game as well, and if he needs to sort of bat with lower order batters, or there is a need to make the most of limited, time or limited um, batters to bat with, the partners to bat with. He's got the big game as well. So that is how I would go, but I doubt whether the team management thinking in this fashion. I just deserve and Sai Sudarshan deserves a game, as so does Abhimanyu Ishwaran in a series where you got one of the flattest batting conditions ever and one of England's weakest, bowling attacks ever.
Pace options, there's Prasidh Krishna, who's played the first few tests, but we also have Anshul Kamboj, who's linked up with the Indian squad after having impressed in the India A games against England Lions.
And I think his bowling style will suit the conditions expected at Manchester. They're saying, we'll have overcast conditions. The pitch is good for batting, but there's pace and bounce. So India would want to have somebody who's, solid in his line and length. Prasidh Krishna has played before and has been left out because of his performances. So there's no point in bringing him back because he was left out on, current form and performance. So worthwhile trying somebody like an Anshul Kamboj. And there's also an advantage that if you discover a young seam bowler for the future, I think India desperately now need young seamers. There was one particular phase when it seemed like India had these, great seam bowling riches, and suddenly that cupboard is looking extremely bare and quickly, slightly irrelevant to our, discussion right now. And I just think England has to start backing seam bowlers who are able to stay fit longer. You see what Akashdeep has done, bowled superbly in that second test match, but off color in the third, and now not fit for the fourth. So the form and the confidence of Akashdeep didn't help India in the next couple of matches. And that is something I believe very important. If anybody has found form, he should be able to carry it, whether he's a bowler or a batter.
Right. I actually want to prod you further on this one. What do you think has happened to the pace bowling stocks? Because it's not that long ago. It's 4.5 years since that iconic test match at Gabba, which was celebrated, of course, for its storyline, but also for the fact that India had effectively their eighth and ninth and 10th choice fast bowlers in very new Mohammad Siraj, in Shardul Thakur and T. Natarajan, who won you a test at Gabba. And that was something that India was really proud of. So, what do you think has happened in the time since that we are posing these questions around the depth of fast bowling options?
I think there is a choice, but these are all untested, young seam bowlers with talent. And Indian cricket for a while will have exciting seam bowling talent. Harshdeep is an exciting option. Anshul Kamboj as well. I like Harshit Rane in the one test match that he played in Australia. So there will always be these, seam bowlers around. But it's just the kind of scenario that we have, with the IPL and white ball cricket and test cricket, that we just don't have our fast bowlers staying fit long enough. Akashdeep is a glaring example. It's not like this is a guy who's, bowled a lot through the season and hence now not fit, or workload load management wasn't addressed properly with him. That's where again you've got to say Mohammad Siraj is a great example, because this is a guy who might be, off color for a while, but didn't have it his way. At least he's fit and raring to go. And that is where I think it's become a serious issue, where you just don't have Indian seam bowlers staying fit long enough. And I think that is an issue that has to be addressed by Indian cricket. And we see a lot of young, exciting fast bowling talent even in the IPL, and after three matches they disappear and they're not seen for the next season. So somebody needs to get to the bottom of it, because I thought with modern day, inputs with regards to sports medicine and fitness, and the results are actually exactly the opposite. There are more breakdowns and more injury prone seam bowlers coming through.
This is bank for towards the end of this series, celebrating Mohammad Siraj and the kind of workload he has had to carry in the last few years. Final thoughts ahead of the fourth test. When we dissected the things as it stood after the third game, we could see that India had so many passages of play that they dominated, but they let slip the momentum. Now, what is the way to guard against this losing of momentum? I say this because we've done some digging up of numbers, and in the three tests we've seen so far, India have lost 10 wickets right at the end of a session. So losing momentum going into breaks of play. How do you guard against that?
Yeah, I'm not sure I have an explanation for that as to why that could be the reason. My memory goes back to what happened on day three when India lost those three wickets, including Yashasvi Jaiswal, Shubman Gill, on that day when he cost India the game as well. I'm not sure it's an issue that I have anything worthwhile to give you or explain as to why that happens, because overall when I'm looking at India's batting performance, it has been phenomenal. And it's something that maybe when you just put it into the batters heads, they might be guarding against that happening. I just so my expectation and what I'm looking forward to is that the Indian batters, I mean, these are all young batters, a lot of them on their first trip to England, have been batting out of their skin. They have been digging deep, whether they'll have those mental reserves. And that is something that I'm really looking forward to seeing.
Right. Let's see what we get from this Indian side. They're aiming to do something which has only been done thrice in all Test history. A team trailing after the third match, coming back to win a five-match test series, and that's 3 out of 157 instances. So the odds are against India. Let's see which India turns up at Old Trafford. Sanjay Manjrekar, thank you for your time. Look forward to your company through this fourth
Thank
test.
you.